Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to be here. Thank you to John and Moni for hosting us in this beautiful location. And thank you to Gabriele, who painted all these wonderful pieces of art. And he painted also the blue butterfly that is the cover of our new book. And thank to Philip Kotler, which is the father of modern marketing, born here in Chicago, 1931, and is the most known marketing professor all over the world. Let me say that everyone who studied marketing since the last 50 years or so, they have studied in his book at university.
Yes.
You say yes, because you did.
Yes, very true. Like we're
And-
taking our picture.
I was so lucky to meet him the first time in Italy, 2017 it was. And he's a great person, very open-minded. I pushed my luck a lot to ask him several times to write some books together. He said no several times. At one point, I think I got his attention and we had made this wonderful book which is called Enlightened Management. It's new because we published it last year in December in English, and it has been a category bestseller on Amazon in 8 countries, including Italy. Then we published the Italian edition in March, also bestseller category on Amazon. All the proceeds are going to the Rotary Foundation. The headquarters of Rotary are just a few blocks away in Evanston. I met the current president, national president of Rotary, which is Stefani Ucic. She is American as well. I met her in Milan, thanks to Arvedo, and she was very happy. She's a fan of you. She couldn't join us today because even if the offices of Rotary are very near, she's around the world most of the time. And I'm very grateful for today, for being here with you, with Philip, and we will tell you about this book and about the next number of years of marketing, but mostly I would like it to be a discussion. So if you have any questions, anything you can ask Philip, we will be happy to reply. So Phil, how are you and how do you see current markets?
First of all, welcome to everyone. Thank you for coming. It's very interesting that when we met, he and I got to talking about marketing and the 4 Ps. Do any of you know the 4 Ps of marketing? Product, price, place, and promotion. So in meeting, I said, let's talk about the 4 Ps, but I don't mean those. I mean another set of Ps that I'm more interested in. And you got interested in that. And I said, the 4 Ps really are prosperity, peace, planet, and people. In other words, if you're going to run a business, make sure that it's a business that promotes peace, serves the people well who are working, and the other Ps as well. So, of course, one could go on endlessly inventing more Ps, but it brought us together. And it's in the book as well, the 4 Ps. How is the world now with respect to marketing? It's interesting. I just finished the piece that I'm going to try to publish in Medium magazine. And it has to do with what can Democrats, the Democratic Party, do to win the next election, midterms, and the big election in 2028. Because whereas the Republicans have a very clear and strong policy called America First. There's no question about what they want. They not only want America first, but they want the first dictator of the United States. And And we have to be careful. So now, what's the condition of the Democrats? And most of the talk is, we don't know what their position is. We know some of their names, but they don't seem to have unity. They don't have a slogan even. Can any of you tell me what the slogan is of the Democratic Party? I mean, it's not America first. As a matter of fact, it's really about people first and progress first and planet first. So maybe I need to figure out in 3 words or less. You know, what I'm asking is, what is our brand? What is the brand of the Democratic Party of the United States? Because we don't know the brand. Each Democrat talks from his own point of view. He may emphasize one of the things, but you don't get the philosophy of the Democratic Party. So I'm trying to think of our slogan. Can anyone suggest a slogan for a party that really cares about humanity and well-being of people? Well, if they say their slogan is peace and prosperity for the world, well, that could be the Republican idea too. I mean, they can try to argue that they are pursuing their own vision of peace and prosperity. So always in marketing anything, we need to get at the essence of what you're delivering, what you're promising. So I still don't have a slogan yet, but
Kotler for president.
what?
Kotler for president.
The president. Don't wish that on me. You don't like me to say that, because that's the problem. Who wants to be a politician nowadays with what they're subject to? They're always going to be criticized, and their family will be criticized, and maybe the members of the family will be unsafe to some extent. So that will drive down the quality of the people who come to run for president. It's self-defeating if we start worrying about finding enough people who feel safe enough to run for office. So anyways, questions on business or marketing or even on art that you might have. Both of us, by the way, before you ask your questions, we're trying to make a Chicagoan out of him. This is his first visit to Chicago.
Welcome.
And there's so much to see. I'm trying to convince him to spend a year here, but that's a big ask.
Not the winter. If you can survive a winter and a summer like this, you're okay.
I'm Italian, so I will survive the summer
Yes.
very easily, not the winter.
But you're basically in Rome, right?
Northern Italy.
Northern Italy, Korean, and, yeah, right. So, by the way, my favorite country, 2 countries. I have favorite countries and unfavorite countries. But one of them is Italy. If I could take another trip, blindly, it will be Italy. It will be Florence, it will be Venice, it will be all kinds of beautiful places. The second one is the Ukraine, and we talked about Ukraine. It's a favorite country of mine, and I'm wishing that everything works out well for those people who are so brave and so special, really. You get to Ukraine, it's so special. And then I have some other countries I like very much too. So, tell us more about yourself, so we could remember the things you did before you worked with me on the book. And what also, add what's happening to Italy now? What's their future?
Yes, the fun fact is that before coming to Philip and talking about this book, I was already writing something, so some of the material that thinking is already in this book. I was meeting Pope Francis twice actually.
May I stop for you one moment? I'm the only person in the world who said no to arranging the meeting with Pope Francis. He was shocked. He knew Pope Francis, and he invited to bring me to Italy to meet Pope Francis. I don't think anyone ever said no, they won't meet with Pope. It's nothing about the Pope, who I admire greatly. It's just that I had other things to do.
We'll try to the next one, which is from Chicago, so it's easier, right? So I presented him some ideas. Those ideas came also from your second autobiography, which is My Life as a Humanist. The title of the book is My Life as a Humanist. And humanism was born in Italy, of course. And when you say people first, you mean also people at the center of the business, and which is the idea of humanism. So bringing human people to the center. I asked myself at the center of what? So I started to design some of these pieces. And then I went to Pope Francis and I asked him to write a comment from my book. The first time he said no. I pushed my life very, very much. So the first time I met you, I asked you for a book and you said no, but also when I went to Pope, I asked for a comment. At that occasion he said no, but then I wrote another book on circular economy, which is an economy that puts people at the first, at the planet, and so on, with other Italian professors. And then I got a comment by Pope Francis, but it's interesting that some of those thoughts that was presented to the Pope are now in this book, explaining how small and medium enterprises, mainly because there are a lot of books for big enterprises, small and medium enterprises, what can they do tomorrow to start putting people at the center and have a better relationship with the employees, with the community, with the clients, with the suppliers, seeing them all as people, and not as companies. And of course, having a good relationship with the planet. And that, as you said, can bring us not only to profit, but also to prosperity, which is, I think, bigger than profit. So I come from Italy. It's a town near Maranello. They always say Modena, but no one knows Modena. But you know maybe Maranello, which is the town of Ferrari. I actually went to school at the Ferrari school. I didn't go to the university, but I studied marketing through your book, Marketing Management. I studied it so much that I wanted to do something, to say something. I wasn't very good at studying because, at least in Italy, universities, you need to just listen, read, and repeat. They don't want you to think so much. I think I'm good at thinking, so it was better thinking than just repeating. That's why the university didn't went so good for me. And I started writing books about marketing for small and medium enterprises, about communication. I have a company which is a benefit corporation, meaning 20% of our profits goes for the community. And we build a website, we work with a company in Italy, mostly B2B company. Also we have worked with Lamborghini and with other big companies, but mainly our customers are small and medium enterprises in the industry. And I started to think how companies can communicate and can act, can do marketing without only the profit in mind. The definition of marketing, at least the one I remember, is marketing is the profitable satisfaction of needs. Should be in marketing management. If you stick to that definition, you have only profit, profitable satisfaction, and needs. So customer. Can marketing only take care of customers' profit? Maybe it can do more. It can take care of the employees, can take care of all the shareholders. And so try to generate a positive impact, a relationship with those stakeholders. And then, as a result, you have profit. So of course, the company needs profit, right? But it can can be done, can be a result of a positive impact with the relationship you have with your community and the land.
It's been a wonderful relationship, and it was at the beginning that we said that the proceeds should go to a good cause. It wouldn't be wonderful if most books written use the money to go to a good cause. The cause that we came to is a group called the Rotary. You understand a group called Rotary?
Yes, yes.
It's a membership of people who try to do good things for other people. And you have a version of the Rotary in Italy, which you've been active in. And so we said the proceeds should go to the Rotary people.
In Rome and in Chicago. Both cities. Rotary number 1 and Rotary Rome. Divide it between the two. Divide the profit between Rotary number 1, which is Chicago, and Rotary Rome.
Well, it's a good point. It's a good point because, you know, the headquarters, the world headquarters of Rotary is in Evanston,
Yeah.
my city. And we should give half of the proceeds to them, and you'll take care of Rome. Is Italy in good condition now, in general, or are they facing any major issues?
Well, actually, we have market troubles. Industries are struggling also because northern Italy is very related to Germany. Germany is an industrial country. Most of the industrials are related to the automobile industry. It's not really a good period since second half of last year. But we have summer and seaside, so yeah. For now, we're good at least until September. We are good.
I mean, everyone wants to be a tourist going to Italy, but what we're finding out is we're not getting anyone who wants to come to America now. So we're very down on tourism, understandably. But we hope that, we always think of Italy for its wonderful craftsmanship and its fine leather products you wear, actually a lot of machinery too. I remember Olivetti as one of the great countries of Italy. One more thing, what about our new pope? Have you met him yet?
Not yet. They will maybe probably do it next year.
I hope you.
They will invite you and you will say no.
I don't. Well, I could have met him in Chicago, but he seems like a very wonderful person. Do any of you want to ask anything about anything?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Right, your hand. So here's the mic. Yeah, come over.
So something I've been curious about lately is, I think we've done a good job getting tools for entrepreneurs to be more just, and tools for the C-suite to at least attempt to be more just. But that 90% of everyone in the middle, that they're the ones actually doing the work. How do they learn how to take the concepts that you guys are talking about, and we actually put that into the middle layers of companies and like that. So if I'm just a marketing director, right, or a mid-level marketing manager, how do I take something that I can't affect the top strategy, but I want to do better work in the middle?
Thank you. And by the way, it was nice meeting you. You're a marketing professor here.
Yeah.
Wonderful. He asked you that question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, this has a lot to do with sustainability, at least how we see sustainability in Italy. Because when I was writing this book, I was looking, of course, researching about sustainability, which is a topic very near Enlightened Management. And I was shocked to understand that in the US or in general English-speaking countries, when you say sustainability, speaking about companies, you mean how the sustainability issues can affect your company and your profit. This is more or less a definition of sustainability in America or English-speaking countries. In Italy, specifically, but I think all Europe, when we say sustainability about a company, we say how the company can help community and planet. This was shocking to me because when we speak about sustainability in Italy, all we mean the same, and if you start looking for English papers, they say exactly opposite. Anyway, this is one of the points because if you can get your employees on board on these topics, for example, working together on some voluntary associations or getting the river clean, so involving employees in several activities will get them on board on these topics, and I've seen it function. For example, when I live, we have Philip Morris, a very big establishment of Philip Morris. They build all the IQOS, the new generation of cigarettes. There are 3,000 people, and of course they do not sell the sustainable products, but they care a lot about their people, and they are doing a lot for the employees. They have specific groups of employees for each topics. For example, women empowerment or environmental sustainability or other topics, and the employees can do something for those topics, even when they are at work. So if you give the employees the possibility and the structure, the organization to do something, they will do it. You get it on board.
You know, it's interesting that there's another new theory of management. Instead of a company being a hierarchy, the CEO and his cabinet all the way down, make that disappear. Make the company one of a set of teams, and each team is working on a set of products and the problems that the products have. And it's called holacracy instead of normal management. And my guess is that people who work on teams get to know each other very well. They learn a lot about their other functions because they may have joined the team as a marketer, but they're working with the finance person, the production person. And when they're finished with a problem, they become a team that goes to another problem. And that may involve people more, because I worry about work in this country. I think 40% or 50% of the people working are not happy in their jobs. By the way, if you're a lawyer, it's probably 80%. That's why I tell my friends, don't become a lawyer. In other words, work should be meaningful and riveting in some way, but it's not that way. So you were answering too, how to get more meaning into work. But the real problem we're going to face is no work. So let's go to what's happening to AI. AI, of course, is destroying a number of jobs. Now, the normal size of a marketing department is twice as big as it should be. If they practice AI, they can get same amount of work done with half the people that are in the company. And any of you who have used ChatGPT know that you can compose things in pictures and even films just like that. Even someone told me, I have a granddaughter who's a singer-songwriter, and she just learned that you don't have to be a singer-songwriter. You can just tell the computer to invent a song sung by a certain famous singer that has to do with bagels, or whatever you want to make it the subject. Now, what's going to happen? Will there be enough jobs created to offset the number of jobs lost? And is it possible that we become a jobless society eventually? I've been trying to write up what that would mean. Does that mean, will it be managed by everyone getting an advance, what is it called, where everyone gets an amount of money upon being born?
Welfare.
It's, yes, more than, it's a form of welfare. But they're now saying that every baby born should have already $5,000 in their account, which can grow if you manage it well to be much more than $5,000. So we're going to have to redistribute income and wealth. And my problem that haunts me is we are getting worse and worse at extreme wealth. I thought it's a lot for the CEO of a company to get 300 times what the average worker in the company was paid. But now I think they're getting 500 or 600 times. I mean, one guy said he made $6 billion that year. And here's the president of this country trying to reduce the income tax rate of the rich. So how come we're going in the wrong direction? Guess what would happen if the rich would start getting, no, it's in the interest of the rich to redistribute their own money so enough people have buying power so they can sell, the rich can sell more. In other words, they should be for people taxing them more, to put more money in the hands of the poor so there will be more purchasing and so on and so forth. So those are our problems too. It's not answering your question, but we got excited. Any other?
Yeah, John. Did you have a question before? John? Yes.
Yes.
John, do you want to say something?
Not really. I'm fascinated. I'm glad that the humanist philosophy is finally being expressed here by both of you. This is unusual. It stands alone.
The microphone. You have to hear, you have to.
All right, there you go. Tell me, I would like to have a synopsis of your book, if you can. Go through this and maybe tell us why we should buy it.
Good point. Well, imagine companies as a caterpillar. You know, the caterpillar grows leaf by leaf for its sustainability, right? So, new leaf means new client. This is a standard company, reaching only for profit and getting, a share at the end of the year. A caterpillar who doesn't know that it can become a butterfly eventually. And then it discovers how to put people at the center, it discovers values, and it grows its pupa, chrysalis, right? And then at the end of this path, it transforms to a butterfly. It flies away, it sees that there is not only that tree with those leaves, those clients, it's not just about clients. The butterflies can see all the environment and feel the connection with other parts of the environment, not only the clients, but also the suppliers, also the employees, also the community. This is the kind of evolution we are exploring in this book. This is why we already painted the wonderful butterfly called Blue Morpho for the cover. And if you want to buy this book, you know already that all the proceeds go to the Kotler Foundation, but in this book you will find this path, how to get into this path, to have the metamorphosis for your company or you as a manager from a caterpillar to a butterfly.
This is really about transformation. And I wrote recently another book called Regeneration, which is like transformation. Many businesses and many communities are dying or sick We need to regenerate them. We need to regenerate Detroit, which used to be a beautiful city, and it became not, its surroundings are rich, but the city of Detroit is dying, or was dying. Now it's regenerating. But transforming, I love that metaphor of, because it's a real one, that happens with, and how butterflies come to be. I'm going to ask my guest Ron to take this microphone and comment on some of the things that he's hearing. And he is an expert in pragmatism. How many of you have used the term pragmatism or studied it? Because he's my guest, and say a little bit about what you're hearing.
I'll tell you one thing with the question I was going to ask. My field is moral philosophy. And the biggest aid we have in moral philosophy is we never answer anything. We ask questions. And so that's what we get paid for. So the question that I have for you too, we're in an art gallery. And one of the things that Phil and I have been talking about, and we're also talking to Mr. Mooney about, is higher education and the role of art. So what is the role of art in building a enlightened management? What is the role of an artist? And so the question that I got for you too is, how does the idea that they are craftspeople building something beautiful, that can an organization be a work of art? And that's the thing we think is often missing, is that they say in business, we're here to crank out as much money as we can and beat the other person. That is an image. And the idea is, what can the role of the artist be within a corporation to make it something beautiful and useful?
Wonderful question to raise, because we know there are companies that want to bring art into the lives of their employees by having paintings around the place, the business, and then the companies are big supporters of museums and other places of art. But you're saying, why isn't it your goal to build a business that the design of which is very impressive? It is producing not just people producing products, but it's producing better lifestyles. It's setting the lifestyle that will be meaningful and pleasant for the people who are employed and the people who buy from that company. Why leave it just to fix up the employees you have? You should be operating in the world to make the world a better place. Now, the question might come.
We're going to do that. Back to art, we're reminded that we're attempting to create organizations and people that are good. Good, a strange word. But the Greeks always had the idea of the good, the true, and the beautiful. Those are the three things. And so what we used to do a lot in Western philosophy is that, what does Athens have to say to Jerusalem? And so we've been working on, it's back to enlightenment. An enlightened person can bring together, back to education, this idea of the good, the true, and the beautiful, which is right out of Greece. And what do we do about Jerusalem that is faith, hope, and love? And these are the ancient virtues. That's what we've been talking about, is how do we have people take these virtues that we've known about for thousands of years in the West and not have it be tied in the attempt of this book, and why I'm here and why I've been working with Phil for so many years, is we are attempting to bring together the good, the true, the beautiful, and faith, and hope, and love. And then, in China, they've had this for 5,000 years with harmony, with Confucius and Buddha and Lao Tzu. So what we're trying to do, and that's what being here in this gallery, it's so important, is to say, what is the role of beauty in making this happen? Right? It is a profound interest that we all have to practice virtue. Faith, hope, and love. Good, the true, and the beautiful. The trick is, how do you do it? That's the key of what marketing and management is.
Yeah, I think maybe John there can also answer about that.
See if this is on.
There, congratulations to all three of you. You have hit it on the nose. Well, by speaking of humans, coming from Italy, you have brought what we know to be a society which is based upon came forth by the celebration of the good and the beauty. And that Renaissance tradition still carries through. So which is entirely based upon that. So you mentioned in Detroit, a city which was leveled first in 1968, burned down after Martin Luther King was assassinated, and never quite recovered until the arts brought Detroit back. It's music. It's music made everybody feel their own worth, the reason to be there, what this art is being generated. That your focus, that this conversation is happening in an art gallery, is the very reason that we are in existence here at this foundation. That we believe that the art and the artist, most particularly, can serve society, and that society changes by that process. And we do it in multiple different ways. We begin with the youth, and particularly in the underprivileged areas, and develop their art, and have that grow with them. It becomes exciting. And I see within the organizations which we collaborate, the goodness in these kids, their brilliance and their desire can lift up a society and a people. I can see it happen in the future if we give all that we have to that. But you've even picked up one more thing on the corporations who understand the value of art. In 1991, there was a recession. But it's kind of started with some of the companies earlier than that, most particularly IBM, even in 1989. Arvado didn't participate, but the IBM was then commissioned to transform their building. And we did it with the people at hand. All of the employees participated in making this art. There were plans and methods for them to fulfill, and then transformation to the art. It happens again that Alberto did participate in the Orlando Olympics, which is the same thing. Del South was our host. We were able to completely change the corporate structure and the life of the people and the joy that they had in doing something which set them, their work, and the result apart from anything else. Amazing.
the Chicago Tribune and City Park. Not as much as the employees, but the other two with the employees. So art, so pointed it can help change society and bring that good out. But it takes the experts, it takes all of the intellectuals who see the good side of Congress and how that can change society. So you are leading us in that. We thank you for it.
Just one thing, I'm already the author of this works around you, and the author of the paintings of the cover of the book. I want to tell one thing. That my master, Mr. Moni, told me one time: art make community. Art make community. The art can unify, can make people, different people, in one place to do work together, people that never met before. When we did, as I told, in Atlanta, every floor was with employee was volunteer. So for 1 week, each one floor of the building, the people come and pass to make a work of art. And they was all of that was part of a project, a different project, something that was for the community, for outside, for all the city. So art make community. That is, I think, one of the most important things that art can make, because only art and religion can make a community. But art in some way is a religion, because when you have a leader, as John David is a great leader of art, and can involve a group of people to make something that is not for themselves, but is for everybody. Because when you make a skyscraper, a light of skyscraper is a gift for all the city. It's not for you or for your company, it's just a gift for all the community. So, in my opinion, the key point of art is that make community. Can it make a gift for all the city, all the people around you?
You know, it's unfortunate that in our educational process, guess what courses were dropped? Guess what they don't teach in grammar school now?
Art and music.
Art is not taught.
And music.
And music is why don't we imagine a new beginning of a school where every student has to be an artist from the beginning. They can choose the kind of art they want, but wouldn't that be a different world if it builds community?
I do have to put in a plug for those of you from out of town. You may not know the motto of Chicago. Anybody know the motto of Chicago? Latin? Verbs in Porto, city in a garden. And that's what we're working on, is to have this city look like some of the beautiful cities in Italy, where they are truly cities in the garden. Last thing I'm saying too, that I'm going to get off, is you're the author, not me. But the other thing I'd say about Chicago is that the reason why we have such a beautiful lakefront is because the people at the turn of the century and all the city, all the leaders of the city and the citizens say we wanted to make Chicago a city in a garden. And that's the reason why we have the beautiful lakefront that we do, to make it a beautiful city. That is what we have to bring back. And with the artistic genius, in this case, of city planners, who were able to bring together business and the community and civic and government together to make a beautiful city.
Thank you for plugging Chicago.
I just wanted to, obviously preaching to the choir here, our wonderful artists.
Oh, okay. You're preaching to the choir, a bunch of wonderful artists, and
and forward thinkers. And one of my favorite arias, I'm an opera singer, is Visitandole by Puccini. It's life is art, life is love. And if we can embrace that in every aspect of our lives. And people are artists who are not painters and dancers. I mean, there's just so many forms of creativity in art, and to embrace that in each and every one of our family members, and to encourage that is how we create, which I love, community.
Thank you very much.
The last thing I would say, if I would depart, turn it like that, but the last thing I would say is that in terms of business and marketing, people we're talking about, is when a decision is made in the boardroom, you're mentioning IBM, and there have been very few executives in my experience who have said, is this decision, will this further a good and true and beautiful world or not? That's usually the third or fourth or maybe fifth question.
That should be the first question.
Exactly. That should be the first question. Will it foster people who are virtuous and will practice the virtues of faithful?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Finally, what we say is that we want to turn all business people into moral philosophers.
You know, I talked before about civil economy, which was born in Italy in the 1700s, and economists, they were all philosophers. There was no differentiation. So now there is economy, there is marketing, there is philosophy, where there is. We should be getting back to those times where everyone was a philosopher, meaning a lover of the knowledge, right?
So I think we've had a number of ideas and some questions, and maybe some of you are getting hungry. Do something about that. That's our plan, I hope. So, any other questions before we break up? Yes.
I just want to say that, and this is an honor, and I was one of those students that had your book, and every job interview I ever had, the book was on the shelf. So, thank you. But my question is so I own a creative agency as well. And a creative agency. Like we do the branding, the websites, creative stuff, anything design. No, in conjunction, we do things different. No, but before I ask my question, I kind of want to go back to what you had said, because I think as creatives or as people who are in marketing, I think our job isn't just to do things, it is to inspire. And it is to show people how creative they actually are, or they can be, even if it's not with actual paint. But they're creative in their own businesses in their own right. And I think this book, which is part of the reason why I'm here, is to help bridge that gap, because I feel like I'm in the middle, where the small entrepreneur needs a lot of assistance and no one really wants to help them. And I think if we bring each other up together, that's the whole community part of, we can all, there's enough pie for everyone. Everyone's pie is different. Not everyone wants the same thing or the same way. And everyone has a skill and a superpower, and it's our job to help them see that in themselves, and that trickles to their business, that trickles to their employees. But as a marketer, or as someone who's trying to help others, in your experiences, what have you done, or what would you recommend for someone who's trying, like myself, who's in the middle, trying to inspire others to also help those that are starting or in the middle, or the people who are struggling to find that help?
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of evolution to thinking about how to run businesses. And more successfully. And one of the things is to, there's a movement called conscious capitalism. And maybe it could have been called responsible capitalism. To get more, well, just the idea used to be that a business is all about satisfying two people. The investors through the profits and the customers to come back again to make more profits for the investors. The best thing to happen finally is to realize that all successful businesses are based on teamwork and the stakeholders. Instead of saying everything's about the shareholders who own some of the business, it's about all the stakeholders. And I was so impressed with my work with Unilever as a company because they listed the 7 stakeholders of any business. They placed the investors last. Last. In other words, the president of Unilever would say, oh, yes, there's one more stakeholder, I guess it's the investors. You know, that's like a curse we have. We also have to have them, some money for them. Okay, so there's a lot of transformations going on. And this is about transformation. This is about how a small company can survive and prosper in a very competitive world. So we hope that, and we don't have evidence yet. This book has been read by some entrepreneurs who have small businesses. Have we followed in Rome, let's say, or in Italy? Have we received statements from them that it changed their, the best statement was, it changed my life. It made my business. This is sort of new, so we don't know yet. And if it isn't, we've got to write the book that will make them say that.
Yeah, true. But there is also a thing I forgot to tell you, that inside the book there is a manifesto you can sign, and since the book was published, we already have like more than 100 companies signing the Enlightened Management manifesto, meaning maybe it didn't change their company or their life so fast, but something is happening. So
Well, get the 100 companies to meet each other. Not compete with each other, but to help each other. I had a son-in-law, and I said, please join the young, it's called the Young Professionals. You have to be the president of a company and under the age of 40. Because if you meet other professionals struggling with the same issues, you learn so much about your own business.